want to talk about extreme? I am so sick of hearing about what women's rights are from a party that can't even define what a woman is. I stand in front of you a very proud woman, and I can tell you that aborting a fully formed child is not a woman's right.
I've lived my entire life with this constitutional right to contraception, and it's a right I've exercised for decades. Whether it was the birth control pills I used when I was a teenager to address debilitating cramps, the IUD I've relied on for years, or the Plan B I've used at times that was thankfully available over the counter when I needed it. I'm probably the first person ever to speak about using Plan B on the House floor, and I know I'm the first person in at least 35 years to talk about my period here. But you know what? We should be talking about it. We should be talking about periods and birth control and the health care that millions of Americans need for our everyday lives.
As president, I have a responsibility to act with urgency and resolve when our nation faces clear and present danger. And that's what climate change is about.
President Joe Biden announced some steps to address climate change in the U.S., but they're not going as far as some activists hope. President Biden announced new executive actions that take a sort of modest step forward in addressing climate change. So some of these actions include expanding offshore wind energy. The plan also includes $2.3 billion for a program that helps communities to deal with heat waves, floods, wildfires. And so one of the big things is he wants to prioritize, though, is the extreme heat that we're experiencing not just in the United States, but across the globe. Senator Joe Manchin, rejected Democrats' plans to combat climate change and raise taxes on the wealthiest Americans. Because of that setback, President Biden said that he himself is going to focus on executive actions that he can take without congressional approval. There has been a lot of pressure on the president, from climate activists to progressives to Democrats on Capitol Hill, to move forward on this issue because it is something that is present and affecting many around the country right now. The past couple of years, we've seen how extreme weather has been affecting different communities. One big thing that, some progressives, some climate activists want to see is, the president declare a climate emergency. He didn't do that. A climate emergency would open up funds for the government to use on an array of projects that they don't have access to right now. We don't know if he's going to announce a climate emergency, but he did say that he's going to do everything that he can to address climate change and this climate crisis.
This playful panda named Anan was a star attraction at a Hong Kong theme park for more than 20 years. Jason Lau says Anan was a very vibrant and adorable panda who I grew up watching. I feel sad he's passed away. Visitors are streaming past his empty enclosure to say goodbye after the 35-year-old panda was put down Thursday. Like many older pandas, he had high blood pressure, but his health got worse over the last few weeks. The popular panda lived the equivalent of 105 human years. 11-year-old JB Lau was smitten. She says, I've seen other pandas in my travels, but Anan was the most special, the cutest and plumpest. Anan and his former mate Xiaxia were diplomatic gifts from the Chinese government in 1999. Xiaxia held the record for the world's oldest ever panda in captivity when she died 6 years ago at the age of 38. Now Anan is gone, but not forgotten, with many writing messages of condolences to the panda who warmed their hearts. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
All right, here is a new video just posted by Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, previewing tonight's primetime hearing. Take a look.
Was the president in that private dining room the whole time that the attack on the Capitol was going on? Or did he ever go to, again, only to your knowledge, to the Oval Office, to the White House Situation Room, anywhere else?
To the best of my recollection, he was always in the dining room.
Yeah, what did they say, Mr. Meadows or the president, at all, during that brief encounter that you were in the dining room? What do you recall?
I think they were, everybody was watching the TV.
Do you know whether he was watching TV in the dining room when you talked to him on January 6th?
It's my understanding he was watching television.
When you were in the dining room in these discussions, was the violence at the Capitol visible on the screen on the television?
Yes.
Jonathan Lemire, your thoughts? It appears they're making the case here that he was just watching TV the whole time, meaning not doing anything to stop it.
Yeah, we had known from secondhand reporting that this is what the president was up to that day, that he had retreated to the private dining room just off the Oval Office, watching the televisions, the footage of the ongoing riot at Capitol Hill. But now we're hearing it from Trump aides who can corroborate it firsthand in their own words. They're Trump supporters who still believed in the cause enough that they were still working on January 6th in an otherwise hollowed out White House. So if this is a snippet of the testimony we're going to see tonight, it does indeed point to the theme of dereliction of duty, how this president basically from Election Day abandoned leading the country for this foolish quest to overturn the election, and no more so than on a day when his supporters were committing violence in his name.
And just letting it happen when he, and he alone, could have really done something to stop it. We'll, of course, be covering this all day, previewing the big hearing tonight on prime time, 8 p.m.
Randy Weingarten's organization's own poll results backfiring. A survey conducted by the American Federation of Teachers shows that voters trust the GOP more than Democrats on issues in the classroom. Corey DeAngelo, senior fellow at the American Federation for Children, joins me now. Wow, novel concept, having an organization that represents the interest of the kids, not all the other players in education. How much of a self-own was this poll for Randy Weingarten and her teachers union?
I mean, look, this was just an epic cell phone for Randy Weingarten. Her teachers union's own poll destroying her own narrative, just tearing her narrative into shreds. And look, it found that Republicans were winning on the issue of education, and that Democrats were more likely to be viewed as over-politicizing the classroom, which is the complete opposite of what Randy Weingarten has been tweeting over and over again every single day. She's been blaming the Republicans, but her own poll found that the Democrats, if anything, were more responsible for over-politicizing the classroom. And since then, there's been another poll that just came out from the Democrats for Education Reform, also finding Republicans up on the issue of education by about 3 percentage points overall and by 9 percentage points with parents. So the GOP has a perfect opportunity here to become the parents' party. Hopefully they don't screw it up, and they can learn from Glenn Youngkin in Virginia. He showed them the way to lean into parental rights. It's a political winner. And look, if you want a red wave, this is the way to do it.
You took the words right out of my mouth. In light of this poll, in light of Virginia, and let me add, in light of school board races across the country where the Republican has won resoundingly, why don't Democrats change course and stop politicizing education?
They should stop, but the thing is, they're in a catch-22 situation. The Democrats have over-relied on the teachers' unions. Randy Weingarten, who we just talked about, AFT's campaign contributions, 99% of those contributions have gone to Democrats as opposed to Republicans in 2022 so far, according to the Open Secrets campaign contribution website. So the Democrats have to make a decision now, and Republicans, if they're smart, they'll make the Democrats make that decision. Republicans are in a win-win situation on the issue of education, and look, this polling is a sea change. Even though it was only about a 3 percentage point advantage overall, for Republicans to even be close to Democrats on education, this is a seismic shift in what we've seen for decades. Democrats have always been up, or for a long time at least, on the issue of education. So for it to even be close, it would be an important story. But for Republicans to be up in 2 polls over the past couple of months from left-leaning sources on the issue of education, this doesn't look good for Democrats in the midterms. And look, if the Republicans want to give a gift to the Democrats, they won't talk about education. They won't touch it like they've done for far too long. If they're smart, though, they'll lean into this just like we saw with Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, who cracked the code. This is the blueprint for success going forward. Education freedom, parental rights and education, school choice, these are all political winners. And at the same time, coming out against parental rights and education after the past 2 years in particular is becoming a form of political suicide. So hopefully politicians from all parties pick the side of the parents.
Could this be the midterm election that marks the beginning of the end for the teachers' union monopoly over our kids' education? We will see in a few short months. Corey, thank you very much. Great job. Carl?
Let's bring in former Department of Justice prosecutor Jim Trusty. Jim, do you see a big conflict here that the Delaware U.S. attorney is ready to charge, but Maine Justice Merrick Garland says, ho, 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 we don't want to make this too political before the midterms?
Well, maybe. I actually think there might be more collusion at work than you're giving credit for. I'm really concerned about the story that came out because it is a lowball treatment of Hunter Biden. You know, 80 or 90% of federal white-collar cases, Jesse, include the word conspiracy. We're now reduced to hearing about a tax case and a rinky-dink gun case, which means, by definition, one person. They're talking about, I think, coming up with the right timing for a soft plea for Hunter Biden to have very little consequences. And the other part of the story that I thought was very disturbing, very interesting, is they quote, or they say at least, that federal officials were really fretting over whether his drug addiction was a defense in these cases. Well, you know, drug addiction might factor in when you're in a barroom brawl, right? Whether you have an intent to kill in that knife fight. But for economic crimes, you're talking about complex economic crimes spanning months or years. It's ludicrous. It's mitigation maybe, but it would never be a defense. So I think we're hearing the beginning of a story of a poor drug-addicted man who's going to get very special treatment with a Friday evening plea to a tax charge and maybe this 18 U.S.C. 922 firearm in the hands of someone with a drug addiction, kind of built-in mitigation to how they're going to package that. And it cuts what looks to be a pay-for-play scheme completely into a tiny little silo of Hunter Biden, if that's where they're going to go.
Well, it looks like a mop-up job. Again, whether it's the Clintons, the Bidens, never get touched. It's what happens when you're a Democrat. All right, Jim, thank you very much. We hope you're wrong, but thank you.
Me too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.